Hi guys, it's AntManUK here. I made a nursery slash foraging area for my queen ants, the Lasius species that I recently got. I bought a lunchbox slash storage box. This was recommended by someone in the comment section below. I think it was Jimmy. He said if you get like a lunchbox or some sort of storage box, you'll be able to use it to make a foraging area for your ants. On the lid there, I put some wool in the holes, just so the ants can't escape through the roof of the tank. I've got some PVA glue, non-toxic, so it won't affect the ants in any way. I've got some wool. I've got myself a test tube plug. I've got myself some scissors to cut out an hole into the side of it to put, for where the test tube is going to be hooking up later. Obviously we got some Vaseline jelly for the top of the tank as well, and we got some honey. Good honey. I'm sure they're gonna really like this. Okay, so first things first. I forgot what I was doing here. Yes, I was going to. The first thing I was going to do was make the hole, so I can attach the plug for the test tube. So what we need to do is we need to splice the scissors in there and just keep going in a 360 motion with your scissors until you splice enough big of a hole for the plug to fit in. I had to use two pairs of scissors here. I had to use a smaller pair just to pierce it and get it going, as you can see in the video. And then later I switched over for a bigger pair, and they were just to basically just splice it open a bit more. So that I can eventually fit the plug in. And of course with the plug as well, you can see there in the video that there's a hole in the plug. I've done the same sort of thing with the small scissors there, just pushed it through and then gone in a 360 circle motion until I've got a decent sized hole, cleaned any little bits of plastic out of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit that in there with PVA glue around the edge. It's non-toxic, like I said, so it shouldn't affect, it doesn't affect children anyway, so it shouldn't affect ants. So I'm going to put PVA glue in just to hold it there nicely, a bit more, so it sits nicely, and I've got cotton wool obviously to fill in the hole later on. As you can see, the PVA glue is on, and I have to wait for this to dry. After it dried anyway guys, I skipped a bit forward here because it was very difficult to record each and every single part. Once it was dry, I put some cotton wool in, so now it's fully sealed. Went into my back garden, got a bit of soil to put down on the bottom of the, as a substrate is it? I can't even pronounce it, I've got a cold. Anyway, got a bit of soil to put down on the bottom, not too thick, not too high, so she can't she can't dig down there and hide. The rock itself, I don't know how I managed to find that. That was at the bottom of the garden anyway, but I looked at it and I was like, oh, that'll do, I'll put that in there as well, you know, make it look a bit nicer. So I got the rock, put it in there, but what I did was I didn't put the rock on the soil. I dug the soil out and then put the rock straight onto the actual plastic, because what you don't want is you don't want your queen to think, or your worker ants to think, oh, we can go and live under the rock. So whatever you do guys, when you're putting rocks or anything down like that, you want to remove the soil around from underneath it first. Okay, right, so I added a brand new test tube as well. This test tube I've put in as a second home basically. If the queen, at the moment the queen doesn't have much water left in her current test tube, so I've made a brand new test tube which I've now put into this nursery slash foraging area. So they can move into this if they like, or they can just use it as a water supply, or they'll probably use it as a dumping ground for rubbish. I know what they're like. Ants are ants. They like to dump things as well. The little plastic tray there, I got that off the top of a Pringles box, and what I'm going to use that for is to put the honey in. As you can see here now, is I've put the Vaseline nice and thick around the top. From past experience, I put it on last time quite thin, and the ants were able to get past it. And so far with this one, with it being on thick, it's worked out better for me. Later on in the video, you won't see it. I don't have any footage of them actually going up to the Vaseline, but I did see it myself, and they went up, they turned around straight away. I think they were like, oh, it's too thick, I'm not getting past that. Or it was too slippy or sticky or whatever. They didn't like it. They turned around and went back straight back down. I'll put a bit of honey in there, right? And now I'm gonna move the queen. Well, I'm gonna move the test tube in, and it's gonna live on this right side here of the little setup we've got going. So let's put them in. Right. So now that the queen and the workers are in, I've took the cotton wool off the test tube. These guys are really active at the moment. They're definitely looking for food. As soon as I put them in, they were basically starting to come out the edge of it, exploring a little bit. A bit nervous at the beginning. I was a bit nervous myself. I think I had a bit of butterflies going on when I put them in there. I was a bit worried. But the whole point in this nursery / foraging area, that's me messing around with the camera. I've not got used to this camera yet. It's still very difficult. This is I think it's 2160p at 30 frames per second. But to be honest, it doesn't look as good as the 1080p 60 frames per second. So next time when I do record a video, I think I'll stick to the 1080p at 60 frames per second. The 30 frames per second doesn't look that good, especially when you're recording ants at close range. Well, anyway, these little guys here are starting to do a bit of exploring, and I think on this I ended up stop recording at some point in a few seconds. I stopped recording. I thought, you know what, I'll leave them to it for a bit, and then I came back. I went. I was setting this up in the kitchen, and as I came back to walk through the kitchen to get to the bathroom, I was like, really? Did I just see what I thought I seen? And you know, within the space of 20 minutes or so, they already found their way to the honey, and I had to record some footage of it, so you guys will see that at the end of the video. But the whole basis of this setup is a nursery. It will allow my workers basically to feed the queen honey, feed the whatever else. You know, it will allow the colony to grow a lot quicker, and with the plug system I've got there, will eventually allow me to plug it up to a formicarium. You know, and this is good maybe for like maybe 200 ants. Maybe this is good for 100 to 200 ants before it needs to be plugged up to something. So yeah, I'm not making the same mistake as I did last time, plugging straight into a formicarium and then was struggling to feed these guys. So this is it. This is the footage. I come back, I went to the toilet, came back, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? As I walked past, I was like, whoa, really? They found the honey already? There's one little guy already there on the left side. You can only just make him out. Little black dots on the honey there, eating away. It's like, yeah, you know, I don't know why I'm calling him a guy. So it's a female. There's another one's picked up on the track or the scent or whatever. Yeah, and she is. They're all exploring here. I noticed they only send out 4, maximum 4 or maximum 3. 2 or one of them stays with the queen at all times. Yeah, it's really interesting. So as you can see here, they do eventually get to the honey, and eventually these guys actually walked back. After I stopped recording, I was gutted because they actually walked back to the test tube and they fed the queen, and they fed the other worker that was with the queen. It was really, really strange. Well, anyway guys, I hope you enjoy this little tutorial. It's pretty straightforward, it's easy to do, and I'm sure you'll get it straight away. It's not difficult. If you have any questions, please ask. Don't be scared to ask me anything. I'll try and answer my best as I can, and thanks for watching.